big and found diamonds. They started to chip them off the walls. They took them down to the local jeweler and were very disappointed when that jeweler told them that on a hardness scale of 1 to 10, a diamond being a 10, that these are only a 2.5. Now, in case you did not know, a 2.5 is about as hard as your fingernail and worth just as much. Now, before we get going, I'm going to radio in and let them know that we are on our way. Okay, we're heading in.
Is this your first time here?
Yeah.
See, I'm from here originally.
Oh, really?
Campesino.
Oh, okay.
My family.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we're about thinking about to getting inside here.
This is beautiful.
Is it?
And
Yeah,
it's
that's
so
what
unique. This is so different than any place.
Yeah, that's what I told my family. You know what? Let's explore this. We never had this experience, so let's try this. Oh my God, look at this. Watch out! Watch your step! Watch your step out.
We're walking through the rocks. Look at all these rocks.
Cuidado.
Cuidado, Alex. Oh my God, this is beautiful. Nice.
Up here on everyone's right, you're going to be going by Jesse James Hideout. Now, who can tell me who Jesse James was? An outlaw, yeah, he's a pretty famous outlaw here in Missouri. Now here in Missouri, we actually have over 6,000 known caves with 22 show caves. Out of those 22, 17 claim that at one point Jesse James was in their cave. Now only 3 of those 17 have actually been verified. We are one of those lucky 3. Jesse James actually signed his name here on one of our walls, and I'll be able to tell you all a little bit more about that later. But right back there is a great spot for Jesse and his gang to all hide out. They can fit about 10 to 12 men pretty easily into that back room. Someone could be sitting right here on the rocks or in the passageway watching the entrance and exit to see if anyone was coming in. If they saw that someone was coming in, they would alert the others. They could then all run out one of these back 2 exits because they do link into that main chamber, and they would be able to escape deeper into our cave. Now up here behind me, we're going to make a left turn, and then we're going through the narrowest portion of our tour known as the Lemon Squeeze. Now we call it that because at its narrowest point, it is about 17 to 18 inches wide. Don't worry, we've never had anyone get stuck before, but if you do, it's okay. We have our procedure. We'll have the person behind you push, and the person in front of you pull. If that doesn't work, it's okay. We've got another tour coming in about half an hour. We'll have them get a running start. Everybody can now follow me.
It's terrible.
Don't forget about us. We might get stuck.
I don't think so. I have the panzone.
I have the pencil. Somebody lives here, though. Huh?
Yeah, looks like Jesse James.
Yeah, Jason.
Jesse James.
Living by this, I'd be here every day when I was a kid. And all these passageways, are you kidding me? This is so different than any
This kid is
place I've
de aquí.
ever been in. I've been in a
Él
lot
vive en
of places.
Chicago, pero él es originalmente de aquí.
One time, and I remember then, I see why the book tells about getting lost.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So tight here.
No,
Watch your step, Alex.
Squeeze in our bellies here.
Uh-oh.
this is so neat.
I'm too fat for this.
Isn't this wonderful?
Yeah, oh, beautiful.
Did you squeeze
Oh my God. Squeeze him in, squeeze him in, squeeze him in. Alex, squeeze him in, squeeze him in. Come on, keep going.
This one.
Everyone has now made their way to our alligator. Now, our alligator is one of 7 natural landmarks that people used to use to find their way in and out of our cave. If you look, our alligator's head does point towards the exit. Here's his body. And his tail wraps all the way around the wall.
It's called an
Now, our
alligator.
alligator does kind of have a glazed look to him. That is because over the hundreds of years of people petting him and leaning on him, the oils from our hands and the pressure has actually polished him. There's a legend behind it though, saying that if you rub the alligator on your way by, your tour guide will be able to get you out alive. Now, as you can see by the look of our alligator, not too many people seem to trust this tour guide.
No, no. This is a treasure, really. There's a treasure.
Yeah, his mouth's down there. Let's like that.
You ready para
This big hole down here.
Gonna get stuck.
Hang on.
You'll be okay.
Just allow him to get stuck.
Oh, spooky. Hey, I'm gonna get lost. Wait for me. Huh?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh God, look at these things. What a beautiful thing. Huh? Beautiful thing.
Can you imagine his children playing?
Oh my God.
Oh, I can. Oh, yes. Oh, this would be wonderful. Hiding.
Hide and seek.
He would like it.
This will be fun here. I'm pretty sure they're gonna get lost.
Everyone has now made their way to Autograph Alley. Now, if you look up, I'm sure you can all see why we call it that. Here in Autograph Alley, we actually have about 2,500 signatures. In our cave, there's a total of around 250,000. Now, in 1972, we did become a U.S. National Natural Landmark, making it illegal for anyone to sign their name, take any of the rocks, or climb on our rocks here in the cave, with that resulting in about a year in jail and a $1,000 fine. So let's not do that today. That'd be a bad way to end everyone's trip into Mark Twain Cave. But if you look up at the rocks, you'll see a few different ways people would have written their names before 1972. If you look right here, you'll see where they would have taken soot from their candles, mixed with some water to give a black paint. Right there, they actually would have burned the rock, then carved their name into it. Over here on the other side, you can see where they would have taken their candle and burned their name into the rock. Later on in your tour, you will see some red names. I promise you it is not blood, it is actually pokeberry juice. These little red berries that grow naturally along our hillside. Up here on everyone's right, you're going to see our post office. Now our post office does have a little door with a window and a stool inside. Back when kids
Hey,
used to play here in our cave, there'd be a
I'm the last guy
sitting
here,
in
see?
the window.
This is
They
the
would
cave
close
here.
right
Oh my
there,
God, this is really good.
and cross their names off when they left. Later that night, a local farmer known as the postmaster would come in to make sure that all the names were crossed off. If he saw that a name was left uncrossed, he would form a search party and they would come in here to look for the lost child. Normally to find that forgetful child asleep in bed.
I'm gonna put my name here. DJ Fuego was here. But I don't wanna go to the jail right now. Look at this, look at this, look at this.
Look at this.
Cuckoo, cuckoo.
There's so many of these little places really.
Hey, hey guys, wait for me.
And it's cool, you know,
Cuckoo.
but this kind of rock is unique.
And there's no bugs or animals in
This
here.
kind of rock is unique, it's only smaller and
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Ooh,
Here in
it's high
Louisiana,
here.
30 miles.
De ladito, ¿eh? De ladito. No cabemos aquí.
Yo sí cabe.
What a beautiful thing.
You see, your husband's, you can climb up here and sleep. It's like
Yeah?
beds on top. You
Is
know,
it?
Flat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, look at that, up
Maybe
here.
right here too, right?
Nice.
Wow, like comfortable.
Mis rocas están bonitas.
You don't even need the air conditioner here.
Nice.
Oye, ¿allá qué hora?
Everyone has now made their way into Grand Avenue. Now, Grand Avenue is the longest and widest section here in the cave. It actually stretches for about a quarter of a mile that way, and a quarter of a mile that way. So it's about a half a mile in length. Would anyone like to shout out a guess at how far underground we are?
350.
350,
4.
4, 5. We're actually 250 feet below the ground.
Nice. You were
We
close.
actually didn't go downhill that much. We're actually pretty level with the parking lot. We actually walked into the side of the hill and it sloped up around us. If you look up, would anyone like to give a guess at what the brown spots are from?
Fires.
Fire, yeah.
Fire, not. It's rust.
Rust,
Could be.
water.
It looks like grass.
Uh-uh.
All very common guesses that we hear all the time at the cave, but this is actually the men's restroom and that is the women's restroom. I'm just kidding, guys. It's actually from bats. Now, a lot like our alligator, bats have an oil in their feet, so when they hang off the ceiling, this is the result. Now the brown bats we had around here were about fully grown the size of a grown man's thumb minus the wings, so they could fit about 200 to 250 of them per square foot. So if you can imagine all those bats. And then they do this thing where they cling onto each other's backs, creating these chandeliers that go all the way down to the floor. So if you can imagine the thousands and thousands of bats, all the carbon dioxide they were breathing out actually carved those holes in the center. If you'd like to focus your attention that way, we're going to light up a few rooms and tell you about them. This first room I've lit up for everybody is our Jesse James signature room. Back there, Jesse James signed his name September 22nd, 1879, just a few days after he robbed a bank in Saverton. Now that's why our cave was a great spot for him and his gang to hide out. They could go pretty deep into there and no one would be able to find them. Unfortunately, he did sign his name in pencil, so if we were to get too close and bump into it, it would wipe right off the wall. That's why we're not allowed to take people back there anymore. We have had it verified by 3 different cryptologists, so we do know that it is in fact his signature, and at the end of your tour, you'll be able to see a blown up photograph of it. This next room I've lit up for everybody is our civil defense chamber. Back during the Cuban Missile Crisis, Hannibal had enough food stored back there for about 1,500 people to survive for 2 to 3 weeks. When all was forgotten, they forgot the food was back there. After a few years, someone finally remembered. They came in, found the food, saw that the cans were rusted, but the food inside was still good, so they sold it to Hannibal Public Schools, and that is what they serve on our lunches today. Now this last room I'm lighting up is our Dr. McDowell chamber. Now, Joseph Nash McDowell was actually a pretty famous doctor in St. Louis in the 1840s, but a lot of people said he bordered on insanity. He liked to do experiments on the human body. And that wasn't a very common thing back then. He had actually heard this rumor that if you put a body in a cave with the correct solution, you'd be able to petrify them. So he came to Hannibal, purchased our cave, and started asking the Hannibal residents for their deceased relatives. Now, if you can imagine, that didn't go over so well with the Hannibal people, so they sent him home empty-handed. Unfortunately, only a few weeks later, his 13-year-old daughter passed away of pneumonia. So he did get his body. He actually put her back there in a copper and glass cylinder filled with an alcohol solution, boarded up the cave, and went home to St. Louis. Now at that time, children did still play here in our cave. They saw it was boarded up, they tore the boards down and came in anyways, eventually making their way back to that chamber where they found the girl. That is where they started to tell their ghost stories. Now at the climax of each story, the bravest child would reach in, pick the girl up by her hair, and shine a candle under her face. Now this scared the small children home to their mothers, and their mothers were not too happy about hearing what was going on in the cave, so they got a petition going to have the doctor remove his daughter. Eventually it did pass. He did have to bury her in the family monument.
Called Mark Twain.
Up here on everyone's left, you're going to be coming to our guiding hand. Now our guiding hand is another one of those 7 natural landmarks that people used to use to find their way in and out. If you look, our hand is
Ay, me dio miedo un ratito ya.
finger pointing towards the exit.
No, a mí se me
Unless
dio
they
miedo.
remember to turn at Grand Avenue, it just took them back to the Joseph Nash McDowell chamber, so that was pretty much a hit or miss.
Back and around.
Estas son experiencias que nunca se van a olvidar. Wow.
Up here,
Increíble.
crossing over our Tom and Becky wishing well. Here in Hannibal, we have a contest between 7th grade boys and girls to become Tom and Becky's. They actually study for about 6 months, learning everything from Mark Twain's life to the story of Hannibal. They then dress up in costumes just like Tom and Becky, and they become our ambassadors for the year. Now these Toms and Beckys get invited to events not only across Missouri, but also across our country, just to represent Hannibal. All the money that gets thrown down there is scooped up by us tour guides every couple of weeks, put towards a scholarship fund for those Toms and Beckys to further their education after high school.
Solid rock. Oh, mira, y esta es tierra, Sara. Esta es tierra.
Grief, I think so.
There's more inside. What?
Sí. Oh, money, mira.
Put it in the morning.
¿Ah? Good luck. Pura money si tienes. Pura.
Pide un deseo.
Vamos. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Te quieras. Be careful. no pude grabar donde se apagaron todas las luces y quedó totalmente oscuro aquí. Pero bueno, esa experiencia, porque nos dijeron que para que podamos experimentar la oscuridad aquí adentro. Y sí, da miedo, ¿verdad? Da miedo.
Take a seat, we'll resume our story of Tom and Becky. Just make sure you pass the lantern on your left and that you don't go past me.
This is a beautiful place, and you really see how you get lost in here.
Dice que aquí este lugar está bonito. Siéntense cuando quieren sentarse, siéntense, querido. Oh, it's comfy. Solid. Nice. Siéntense.
Esta fue la sala.
You may take a picture of you guys?